We're going live. We are live. Hello, everybody. It is 6:11 p.m. on a Friday, February 2nd, 2024. Today we have a very exciting podcast for you. Very short one because it's Friday, obviously, but it is very relevant. And I'll tell you why. It's because I'm going to be talking about how to make your Friday afternoons massive. Now, why do I'm saying massive? Because of Australia. What does this have to do with Fridays? It's because you know what? I'm not going to tell you, but the whole point is that I'm going to share with you three top tips on how to make your Friday afternoons productive. Because statistically speaking, Friday afternoons are known to be the lowest productive times during the entire week. So Fridays are meant. So if Fridays are statistically the lowest productive times of the entire week, what can you do? Because I know that you're just as competitive as I am. I'm more competitive than you, but I know you're just as competitive, or you want to be just as competitive as me. And so you have to take advantage of Friday afternoons. And so listen to me as I tell you the three top tips for you to conquer Friday afternoons. Before we continue, obviously, I have to mention our sponsor, our gold sponsor for the day, and that's Spinati Dentistry. Spinati Dentistry is a top-tier dental clinic, cosmetic, and family dental clinic located in London, Ontario, at the intersection of Hyde Park and Sarnia Road. They've won many accolades, one of which is the 2024 Consumer Choice Awards and the top three cosmetic dentists in London, Ontario, as well as the number one rated dentist in London, Ontario by Rate MDs amongst many other accolades. I highly suggest you check them out. You will absolutely love the team there. The atmosphere there is absolutely massive and very fun. And speaking of massive and fun, let us continue on with the podcast. So, just a little story with regards to this whole massive thing. I studied in Australia. I studied dentistry in Australia, and I used to work out there in the gym, in the university gym. And when I came out one day, I was coming out of the gym, and then the lady behind the desk, she asked me, she goes, "How's your workout, mate?" They say, "Mate," right? "How was your workout, mate?" And I was like, "Oh, it was actually great. I crushed it." She goes, "Oh, massive." So I looked at her, I'm like, "Okay." So I figured that Australians say massive for something incredibly good. So that's the title. The title is How to Make Your Friday Afternoons Massive, meaning incredibly good, meaning very productive. And I have three tips to share with you. They're not long, very short and concise for your lovely Friday afternoons. And if you're competitive, you are actually going to stick to the very end, where I'm going to basically congratulate you for sticking to the very end. Now, these three tips, I've actually researched. I research everything, but I've researched and they work. And the last one I've discussed in my second podcast, which was on January 19th, and I'm going to discuss the third tip, but they all follow each other. Okay, now I'm just going to get right straight to it. What's the first thing that you can do in order to make your Friday afternoon incredibly, massively productive? The first is to have a to-do list. Now, to-do lists, and you should have a to-do list before you even start your morning. So the best way for you to have a good to-do list, have it at least the day before. Now, obviously, that's not a good strategy. The best way for you to have it is to have it the week before when you're planning for your week. You can actually have a pre-done to-do list. And that way, when you go into the Friday, you'll have a to-do list. Now, I know to-do lists are incredibly stigmatized and people just want to shoot down the to-do list because they're very hard to complete. Most to-do lists don't get completed. But there's a trick here with Fridays. And that Fridays, what you have to do, or rather what you should do, is put to-dos that require the least amount of brain power, that require low cognition, such as checking your emails, paying your bills, reviewing meetings for the previous week, reviewing your schedule, your schedule from the previous week, from this previous week, and seeing what worked, what didn't work. And you can actually plan for the following week. All this requires very low cognition, requires very low effort, and you get to achieve that cross off effect, okay, or the tick off effect where you can just tick off all of your tasks, makes you feel really good, makes you, get really boosted to actually start doing more work, or you can actually take a really deserved break in the evening of the Friday, even though I suggest that you work because that's what we do here. We're hustlers, we work. And you can actually accomplish that by doing the easy things on a Friday. And actually, that was the tip number two. So I blended them for your benefit so that this podcast doesn't last very long. So the first tip was for you to have a to-do list and preferably a to-do list that you have done at least the night before, preferably the week before. The second thing is to start or to do tasks on a Friday that require very low cognition and things that are very easy to do, things that are very easy to accomplish. And the last thing for you to do, for you to feel or for you to have a very productive afternoon on a Friday or even productive Friday in general, is for you to do time blocking, okay? Time management tips. And the best way for you to have a great time blocking technique is, you guessed it, it's what I discussed on the second podcast, which is the Pomodoro effect. And the Pomodoro effect, just to remind you, is when you block 25 minutes of strictly uninterrupted, very focused work, followed by 5 minutes of breaks, and you do that as a four-set thing. And as my friend corrected me, it's not an hour, rather that's 2 hours, right? 25, 5 is 30, and then so you times 4 is 2 hours. See, I learned. Love making mistakes. So those are the 3 tips. The 3 tips are, first, make sure you have a to-do list before you start Friday. Second, make sure the to-do list is simple and requires very low cognition so you can get things checked off, and you can have that boost for the Friday evening and feel really good that you've completed all these tasks and have the dopamine surge, and you're feeling all good and rah-rah. And the third is for you to exercise time blocking, where you block the times so that your mind is not distracted and you know that you have a focused 25 minutes followed by very intense break. The breaks have to be intense, because if the breaks are not intense, you're not gonna take it serious. So make sure you do intense breaks. So in other words, do not do any work during that time. None. Let's just don't even look at your phone. You just take a walk, do push-ups, whatever. Okay, do something intense as a break. All right? So I hope that helped. It was a short podcast, wasn't it? I hope that helped. Have a wonderful Friday evening, and as always, keep healthy and keep smiling.